Before we begin, 3 messages. If you're a freelancer or running your own small business, the one thing you probably wish you could do quicker and easier is invoicing. That's where FreshBooks.com comes in. They take the pain out of invoicing and get you paid faster. Effortlessly create invoices and email them to your clients. They can view them, print them, and even pay you right away with PayPal or any of their 11 other payment gateways. FreshBooks.com can automate late payment reminders and help track your billable hours at the office or while on the go with their apps for iPhone, BlackBerry, and Android. I'm only one of over 2 million really satisfied customers, and you can be one as well, all for free. Just head to www.freshbooks.com and sign up. When you do, be sure to say you heard of them from untether.tv, and one of you, my loyal viewers, will win a birthday cake each and every week. Doesn't even have to be your birthday. Get started today for free at www.freshbooks.com. When my company needed to develop a key mobile product, one that I was counting on as a new source of revenue, I knew exactly who to turn to. Macadamian. They delivered on time with incredible attention to detail, and I was able to get product into customers' hands faster than I ever thought possible. I've personally known them for 10 years, and they do make great products even better. Check them out at www.macadamian.com. Here's a riddle. How do you build native cross-platform mobile applications quickly without having to rewrite code and hire consultants at a huge cost? Titanium from Appcelerator. Called the easy button for mobile application development, it allows you to focus more on what's important, getting product out the door. Join the more than 1.5 million active developers who have created over 13,000 apps at www.appcelerator.com. Hello everybody! Welcome to untether.tv, where we have casual conversations with mobile rock stars. And I'm joined all the way from Amsterdam this time. And so we have a few connectivity issues, but we're going to plow through this. I think we've probably spent all morning trying to figure it out. We just decided to go forward with it. This is a really great session. It's going to be a great session because my guest today is Maarten Lens-FitzGerald, who is the co-founder of a small company with massive impact called Layar. And this is one of the very first applications that has integrated augmented reality into it and is actually now a platform for other people to leverage to bring augmented reality apps to market. And we've seen so much activity around augmented reality. It's good, it's bad, there's a market, there's no market. And we're going to get to the bottom of this with Maarten. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Cool, thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me, and it's great to be called a rock star. I'm turning 40 next week, so that makes me feel good. Thank you.
That's right. Well, there's a cap, right? 40 is it. So we got you in under the wire, and
just about.
Well, my the fascination with augmented reality is everywhere, and for those people who have not heard of Layar, which I find it very difficult to believe if they're not in the mobile industry, why don't you just give an overview of what you guys are doing right now?
So we're an augmented reality platform, first and foremost, meaning that our mission is to bring impactful augmented reality to the everyday life of people. And for this, we have a platform where everybody can create augmented reality experiences. So that's one end. The other end is that people can experience these AR experiences, this AR content. And for that, we have apps on Android, on iPhone, on Nokia, on Bada, more coming even. And so this is basically a whole ecosystem that we have of developers on one side using our platform, brands, publishers, anybody from somebody in the attic to big corporations like Condé Nast, who are creating what we call layers. Just like on the web, you have websites. In augmented reality, you have layers as we see it. And these layers are created by these people. And as an individual, as a user, as a person, you can experience this on your phone. You can see which layers are available around you. And in these layers, augmented reality will show you the things that are not there. because basically it's on top of reality, on top of the camera view. You know, when you have a normal camera or the camera on your phone, you see reality, of course, on your screen. And what we do is we put stuff in information on top of there, digital information. So if you're pointing it at a house and that house is for sale and you have the real estate layer open, you can see that. It has a little pointer, a price maybe on there, stuff like that. But that's what we call the standard, the where is layers, where is something, where is the ATM, where's the train station, etc., etc. What we're working on right now, we already have 3D, but for instance, right now we're introducing 5.0 the coming weeks, and there you will find animation. So not only will you see a 3D object, for instance, I myself am working on a layer about my neighborhood where I reintroduce a water tower which was gone, which they broke down in 1930. So I got myself a 3D model of it, and I'm putting it back in place. So, well, we don't want to animate that, by the way, but to make these experiences much more richer, we also got animation. And this is what augmented reality does. It gives you information, it's a utility, but it's also a medium for impactful experiences. And that's what we think it's all about.
So how long have you, I mean, when did you start Layar? You guys have been doing this forever, it would seem.
Yeah, for almost 2 years now.
2 years. And I mean, really, what was it, what was the reasoning? How did you end up in augmented reality as a pioneer in augmented reality here?
Yeah, I think, well, for me personally, I knew that cyberspace and the digital age was always the main thing. I mean, I remember reading Mirror Shades by Bruce Sterling in the early 90s. So for me, I couldn't help myself but do what I do. I used to be a web guy, now and then mobile, and now I'm an AR guy.
Did you play around with like VRML in the early days and that kind of stuff on the web?
I did some things, but that was good, but that was, I don't know, it didn't catch on with me, and it was too virtual. That's the thing. And with augmented reality, it's about real life. Yeah. And mobile brings it into context, literally, because you only will find the train station if you're near there. If you're not near there, you don't need to see it. It's not relevant. Yep. And that makes it a very unique medium. And we saw the first potential. I mean, we always knew about AR as a company, the company we were with, the founders before Layar. But when Android came about, and the first demos you saw with where they used, or they showed what you could do with the compass, and that if you turn the phone, you can show what's there. I mean, that's the core for mobile AR. Yep. And that's what really got us started. And we saw that already in October, 2008. And the same week that Android came out, the T-Mobile G1, we got one here in Holland, and we were like, yeah, this is good. And I mean, slowly we got into what augmented reality could be. And when we started watching TV, a TV animation series, Dino Coil, the Japanese series, great series, which is a near future scenario of kids. It's just a kids cartoon basically, but it shows what you can do and what kind of dream world. I mean, literally the world you cannot see, but those kids saw it and they had great adventures. I mean, that really opened our eyes, among some other things, but that was really one of the one cool thing that I recommend everybody who's going into AR or is interested in to look up Dino Coil, DNNO Coil, COIL. It's you'll find lots of stuff on Google.
So, I mean, the influence is there, but to build a business around something that people kind of don't get or don't understand at this point, because you guys were, maybe there was a core group of people that got it or understood it, and I mean, core, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people, but the general population still doesn't grasp augmented reality completely yet. So, I mean, how do you what's the struggle about building awareness and then building out the product and then building out the platform to an audience that will be there but isn't there yet? How's that for a struggle?
I think we're very lucky because it's not about us really. It's about what we found. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, because augmented reality has been around for a long time, and people in the universities have been running around with backpacks doing great work, and work we're actually using right now, literally code. What we did is we were able to see it, put a format, with the layers, just like the website around it. We also made a video, which for a nerd video, it's got now over 1 million views.
It's incredible.
And yeah, we were able to explain it and package it for people in such a way that they can understand it. And also, everybody now getting a good mobile phone, especially in the US. Everybody now, we saw the surge here on our servers at Christmas. How many people there, got Android phones. We literally saw that. So everybody now is seeing it as a cool tool. And we were, our timing was right. We saw this, we found this blue ocean. And yeah, I think it's a combination of our sense of timing and the way we talked about it, but also just the hugeness of the opportunity and that. Yeah, that we were able to leverage that, or are able to leverage that.
Yeah, but it's what Layar is doing, what you guys are doing is literally the next thing. I mean, we're still struggling with people getting devices. Smartphones are in a small percentage, globally when it comes to handheld devices, and people are just understanding this whole concept. The general population I'm talking about, my parents and peers who aren't in the business are just understanding, look, I can get this phone and I can download apps, right? I can start using this. So you guys are, 2 years ago, you were a number of years ahead. 2 years later, you're still a number of years ahead. But has that distance shrunk? Like, do you see much more adoption of augmented reality?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. So many examples now of augmented reality. Also augmented virtuality, if you really look at it technically, like augmented reality from tags or from images and something happens on it. Way
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
But that's a controlled environment, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So in a strict sense, AR out there, that's where the real stuff is happening. But all over the board, you see great examples and more things that are happening. Also on shows. I think it was HP who used on their I don't know what product show. They had a great demo using Total Immersion, another company. And so people are seeing more and more implementations of AR and usage, so, which I think is great because it just shows you what you can do. And to me, it's like the beginning of the web. I mean, first off, if I told you my email address, you're like, hey, you can't fax? And, now you got the fax machine. Now you actually will get an email too. But then you find the web and you want a 3D text of your company name on your website, and people are finding out what works and what doesn't work. And, at one point because it's in the early stage. I'd like to really emphasize that. And people are now, and that's what we're doing too, finding the format of AR. If you think about TV, the first TV is me and curtains behind me doing a radio show.
Yeah.
And now you have what is an American Idol. Yeah. I mean, look how many millions that engages, how difficult that format is, literally its whole market. So that's the whole path that lays before anything that goes around in AR. That's still, we have to go through.
Well, I mean, so early use of AR, especially early use of Layar. I mean, it was available for a moment here. I'm in Canada, obviously, and it was it was available here for a moment on iTunes, and I grabbed it when it was available, and then it went off iTunes for a while. So it was rudimentary. The applications on it, I'd hold it up and I'd find my local coffee shops and those kind of things. But boy, did it ever spark ideas, right? Like almost immediately, you put it up and you're like, okay. I can absolutely see how in a number of years or in a number of months people are going to be using this to do a bunch of different things. But it really did start very simple applications, the things that you would anticipate. But I mean, it's progressively gotten more complicated and deeper immersion, and then you start to see, as you said, the offshoot, which is controlled environments for augmented reality or immersive reality. What have you like? You must have seen. You've obviously seen this, and what are some of the great examples of people using augmented reality today, like using Layar for that?
I have a favorite category, which is history.
Oh yeah.
And I love history. I love and so with AR, you literally can look back. And we saw when the Berlin Wall was launched. So right now in Berlin, the Berlin Wall is not there anymore.
Right.
But it's a humongous, important thing in history. So in Layar, you can see it. And the people that made it really went there and in detail, tweaked the model in 3D model so it actually, fit reality well. And when you read a book, you have to think about it to really understand it. When you get a video, you kind of feel it.
Yep.
When you watch it in AR, boom, it's in your stomach. It's in there. You really get that insight of what it was to have that wall there. And I think it's so powerful to give people those kind of insights. And right now I know Philly in Philadelphia, they're making a history layer, and they are tweaking our platform in such a way that literally you can the images they're lined up with how it was, and they're half see-through, so you really mesh the now
with the
and the then together. And I those are really favorites of mine. But then on the other hand, these are great layers. Technically, there are some of them, 3D is not easy. But then if you look at what's really popular, also the where is layers, like here in Holland, the most popular is the real estate layer.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I myself check that when I'm lying on the couch, being all tired from my baby and my work. I check out, what's the house price is doing, and I like doing that. So just a simple, right piece of text information with location and checking it out like that really works. So there's different types of information that work in different ways.
So what about the form factor? People always say that, there's two camps, I think, is that people are going to say that, like, I'm not going to walk down the street and watch through my iPhone or my Android device, where I can just kind of pull up a Google map or some kind of map and see it on there and walk towards it, get walking directions. So there's that side of it. Yep. And then there are people who have a vision, like, instead of just putting up a for sale or identifying a house that's for sale, let me drive by that house. Let me hold up my phone to that house and tell me what the average heating costs are, the average oil cost, electricity cost, exactly. Square footage of each of the rooms, when the roof was
what it's doing now if you add Arduino to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But exactly. But that's, there's a limited vision and then there's a grandiose vision. What about that form factor, though? Simply because, do you ever see this trend, leaving the mobile, the smartphones and moving into like on dash, on screen in your car, or that kind of display, heads up displays?
Definitely. For us, though, most important is, I'm not a numbers guy, but right now, billions of people have a mobile phone. Mm-hmm. And most of them now are turning into what we used to call smartphones. Yeah. They're actually now becoming normal phones. Yeah. So, we got an installed base. Everybody got a TV, so I'm not going to worry about putting my TV on I don't know, say the web. Yeah. Exactly. Let's first focus on the TV. But yes, I mean, in the car, I mean, it's so logical, especially in the U.S. where nobody walks anymore. Not too many people. I don't know how it is in Canada. I haven't been there.
It's too cold here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you walk underground, don't you? Like in the big cities. But so there it's very logical that Layar, like I said in the beginning, is a platform. So we have all this useful information. So why not plug that in? And it is so logical for those cars to have in a non-interruptive way. So maybe just underneath on the windshield, have that information. And, continuously, if you're looking for a house, you always will have that up. Or even, the filter will know, only select the houses that you can pay for, and it'll be linked to your bank account. Exactly. And then when, it pops up on the right, and little light bulb, and you can, point your car towards it. That's only logical. And the same goes for the glasses. I think glasses are technically very difficult. And again, they're also the form factor. I mean, you got glasses. I had glasses, but I had my eyes lasered. So I really need a good user proposition to get some cool new glasses. Maybe Tom Ford will make them. I don't know. But that's going to depend. And that's
they can't be bulky, big things like this that, Elton John glasses, I suppose.
What is it? Nerdcore glasses. Those very big rapper glasses. That'll work.
But, there's a... This is transformative. I want to understand how, as you're building this over the 2 years, and you're going to continue building this over the next number of years. I mean, what was it like to try to convince people that augmented reality was going to be a very important part of the future around mobile technology? Because I'm sure that when you come up with the idea, it's like, yeah, that's nice, Maarten, but you're crazy, man. Right. This is not going to fly. And then as people just start using it, they understand it, they get it deeper, and you're vindicated. But how hard was that process over the last couple of years?
Well, one of the first things we did is try to avoid people that didn't want it.
Okay, yeah. It's a good way to do it.
I mean, don't push things that people don't want, because it takes you a lot of energy, but only go for the pull. So people that are already interested, talk to them, because they will help you easily, to go forward, whatever it was. And then once they are interested, I mean, Samsung, for instance, is a good example. They were interested, I mean, within the first week they were on the phone. Mm-hmm. And by chance, it all worked out. And of course, we really had to convince them to tell us who we were. And eventually it ended up as one of the biggest pre-install deals. Mm-hmm. On the Galaxy S all over the world were pre-installed. But I think it's because we didn't really need to convince them.
Yeah.
We of course had to tell that we were, and we were a good organization, et cetera, and this was, we have a vision. But I think, in a sense, again, and yes, it is about us, but it's also about the medium, and people already see that, and that we just, open Pandora's box.
So, I mean, that pre-installed deal, was that a hard thing to negotiate, or was that something that just came naturally because they saw the value in it, and ultimately they were going to do it?
Well, we have, so all three of us in the founders, we have a good history in mobile. So we knew from the start that we needed to have a proposition for the operators and the device manufacturers to get a pre-install deal. Mm-hmm. And we knew that we wanted a pre-install deal because distribution of an application is the most important thing. Because after that comes the usage. So right in the beginning, we actually here with Samsung in the Netherlands developed a proposition where they would get the app, pre-install it on the phone, and have exclusive content that only on the Samsung devices would work. And they got a deal with the local Yelp and some other content providers and said, hey, do you want to make a Layar and have it exclusive on Samsung for the coming 6 months? And they said yes.
Of course.
So this is what we did, is we bake that into the product. And this is also the basic deal that we had with the global Samsung, and which, right now if you buy a Samsung, you'll see AR around me, which is a Layar that's only with them, and it's a general service Layar. So that really, that proposition made it exclusive, so they can make it their own. Yep. Whilst and of course they wanted to rebrand it, and we're like, no, we're Layar, and it's not a Samsung app, and etc. But because we had that, we had a good balance. If you get something, we get something, and that worked out great.
And so that must have, obviously, from a distribution perspective and a usage perspective, that must have helped considerably in when you guys were rolling this out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, first off, just having such a humongous company back you. And then, I mean, just the numbers, we still have them, and they're so amazing because, all over the world we see it. And not only that, I mean, what we also have is their marketing power.
Yes.
So, every product has its 4 bullet points, and one of the bullet points for the Galaxies was augmented reality.
And you were it.
They did videos, and even on the tab in the commercial, you'll see, not Layar specifically, they don't brand it as Layar, but we are also on there on most countries. So it really helped us in multiple ways, and not just with them. We have other deals with LG, and we're working on more now. So that, I mean, it was hard to negotiate. Like any negotiation is hard, but from the beginning, it's something we set out to do. Yet, just another example, I didn't call anybody. I was running that in the beginning. Samsung called us. And I didn't call, Nokia or whoever, and we just did our thing and developed it with the people that wanted it.
How did they find you? You just hit somebody who was who understood it, loved it, and it somehow got to Samsung and LG and all these and Nokia.
I can't remember LG, but Samsung, for instance, we were at Mobile 2.0 event in Barcelona the week we launched, so that was June 16th or something around there, 2009.
Yeah.
And the innovation guy called me already and set up a meeting, and I just met him outside. I'm like, hey, it's an event, just come on in, that'll work. and they came and we had a good talk and we set up a meeting, and from there off it went.
I mean, it just shows that when you hit a nerve, something like that, it really doesn't take much to it's probably been something that they've been looking for or talking about internally, or even set up funding to be able to go out and do it themselves. But when somebody like you drops in front of them, it makes it a lot easier to just get up and running quickly.
In hindsight, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, always in hindsight. What about adoption? Adoption. You're European based. You came out on the iPhone, and you were in iTunes, and what I mean, is there more adoption in Europe for the product for Layar than in North America, or has it kind of balanced? Or what I'm asking is,
It's
North
kind of
America
balanced, actually.
it's balanced.
It's balanced, but I mean, most of it is in the U.S., but U.S. is also the biggest
Yeah.
consumer market. And if you throw in enough European markets, they'd be on par in usage.
Yeah.
But overall, it's you have Europe and the Americas. Let me be nice. So there, I think it's and you have some specific Asia countries like Japan that are also doing well. Korea, especially in the beginning when we came out with the iPhone, they were way up there. But now they have some their local AR apps which were very popular. But overall, our usage is very well. But key in that is our pre-install deals.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of Samsung users. Literally, we can see that on the platform, which we're very happy with.
So is that it? I mean, does Samsung dominate the brands, or still? I mean, in North America, it's obviously we've got iPhone and Android that are the dominant, and BlackBerry is still a dominant brand, obviously. But is that where you're seeing it, or is it the other?
For us, it's mostly Android. After that comes iPhone,
Yeah.
and Nokia is hardly there yet. We just started there, but it's Nokia. Of course, now it's a dying brand. So yeah, we're on there because we were committed, and
Yeah.
we want to be. One of our main things is we want to be a broad platform.
Yeah.
So not just for the high end, but also for the other. That's why also we're on Bada.
Yeah.
But yeah, the usage there is not as much, and I guess those people are not into apps. It's not as easy, especially on a Nokia. You have to know how it works. And yeah, those are literally legacy systems, or Nokia is literally a legacy system. It's not as easy as an iPhone to get an app. And then an iPhone is about the apps.
Yeah.
So, and people know that when they get the phone. So there's all these cultures also around the phones.
Well, it's so as this kind of proliferates, you can see that the usages of augmented reality are pretty incredible. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the future of this and the impact that augmented reality is going to have on some of the industries that we're looking at today. First and foremost, that people are talking about are direction or wayfinding, right? So augmented reality to find your local coffee shop. I think that's fairly pedestrian when it comes to the capabilities of augmented reality. But people are still doing that. A lot of apps are coming out to or wayfinding applications. So I don't want to talk about that because we're seeing that today.
And Google does it great.
Yeah.
I just went to France and we're using Google Maps. It was amazing.
Yeah. So that's it. But
there's competition there. Don't like that.
What about something like retail? So when you apply something like augmented reality to retail, I mean, how do you think that's going to shape that industry?
I recently did a talk for a modern art museum, and it was called Beyond the Perception of the Exclusivity of Space. So what I became to realize... it's a museum, so you have to... but yeah, the presumption of the exclusivity of space. People think, if you have a shop, say you have a bookshop, obviously, but like say you have a bookshop, and there is a market out there, and it's very good. I walk in there, I see a book. In the future, and I really can do that now. Basically, I can scan now the barcode. In the future, I can scan the cover. It says, "Oh, it's this book. Great. You want to read some reviews? Sure. Or you want to see some alternatives that people buy when they buy this one? Sure, I can do that all in AR. And you know what? I can buy it right there, or I can have literally a whole store experience in that store. And specifically the latter. I mean, it's not, the easiest use case. But just imagine that any store which puts so much effort in creating this experience, I can walk in and have a whole different experience. It's as simple as reading a book in a store.
Yep.
But that we are used to. But there again, like what if the whole commercial experience, I mean, say you have a jewelry store, say you're Tiffany on Fifth Avenue in New York. Right now, it's already happening. You can put a whole 3D store, jewelry store outside or even in the store, and you can walk around and look at rings and necklaces and et cetera, and buy it on your mobile, all in AR.
And you see that kind of an immersive experience, adding that augmented reality layer on top of something so simple as a book, for example, or a piece of clothing. Like you hold it up and you can see who's wearing it, the latest fashion. You can even see it on the catwalk type of thing, right? Where, But then you also make, ultimately you can make people experts about the product just by rolling over it without having to do anything, no written language, just put a layer on top of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, retail is impact. I look at another industry that I think that augmented reality is the savior for this industry, which is, you hit on it, print. Right? Everybody has been talking about print's death, right, since electronic forms and the web and the internet came along, computers came along, and we find that we print more now than we ever have. But I think it's a little bit beyond that. I did a talk a while ago, and literally 60% of the audience was print, and I was talking about mobile and its influence, and I could see the dread and the fear in their face, and I think that when I said this, my last comments were around print, and I think that mobile is the savior for print because of augmented reality. And they looked at me with, I thought they were all in tears. They were crying. They were so happy that they could maintain their business. And what I mean by this is that, newspapers or books, bringing those to life, history books, as you talked about, using augmented reality on billboards and that kind of stuff. How do you see that industry shaping around augmented reality?
Well, recently here in the office, we're really looking into space, because not space up there, space around us. And, all these billboards that we see around us, or literally even just the buildings, or the fact that the street is opened up again by the government because they want to lay down a new pipe. We as an individual don't really control that. We actually ignore it because we don't have control or any say about it. Or say, look at this billboard at the tram stop or whatever, and I again see this as, well-built guy with blonde hair, and I'm like, darn, it's not me. It makes me unhappy, actually. And they're trying to sell me something? So what if I am able to talk back? If I can say, I hate, or no, I don't hate, I don't like that word, but let's demolish this building. Who's with me?
Yeah.
Not for real, and you can just like that, opinion on that building. So we really think that from a user's perspective, from a people perspective, augmented reality will be an equalizer in space, because space right now is where we live in, you and me, but where other people are more in control, apart from your house, which mostly is owned by the bank, probably.
Yes.
So and let's show that. How many of the houses around us are more owned by which bank, and how much money did they get from the recovery money in the U.S. or I don't know. I don't know what you had in Canada. Hopefully not that bad. But there, we think in the future, AR will have a great or a step to make to really help provide transparency for users, for people, like the web did in a general way. I mean, if we wanted to talk about things, you and I had to find each other on a birthday party 30 years ago. Or in class or wherever. And then we had the web, and, well, look at us. We're talking here right now. You find me, I don't know how exactly, but, you have all these ways to congregate around opinions, around causes. And you know what? Hey, it even almost liberates a country, supposedly. And I haven't really read up on it, and if it really is true. But so think about augmented reality. If anybody can talk back on anything, around anything, or if you look at, margarine, is it really good for you? Let's see who has the best opinion on that. When you scan that, when you put it in AR, you see that Professor so-and-so said, you know what, actually it's not good for you. You have to have real butter and in moderation.
Yeah.
Those kind of logics. And instead of putting it all in a box on the web, which you have to open a computer for, what if you can just see it very easily in augmented reality around you continuously? And that, I think, is where augmented reality really will find its place the coming years, is to the equalization or democratization in a big way.
It's a really interesting perspective because data flies by you at such a rate, and what this actually allows you to do is pull this up on demand at a time that's convenient for you and a location that's convenient for you. And I think education is going to play a big piece in moving this forward. I think that history is going to be something that is, as you said, is going to be recreated, and that to me is something of great value. And I even think that it's even about documenting your own life. You could use augmented reality to tell your life story so your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren know who you are, even though you're not around, right?
I'd love to do that,
Yeah, good and bad, I suppose.
If you want to, it's up to you.
Yeah, but so now when this all lands, and we're starting to get a lot of momentum about this. Where does Layar play into this? Always the enablement platform. Is that where you always want to be at? Where you allow people to leverage what you're doing, or is there a grander plan for you guys to be able to to take over that space?
We're actually building a big laser on top of the building here, and that's our grand scheme.
It's great. I love companies that build big lasers, just cause.
Yeah, it's all about that, really. No, I mean, for us, it's really about doing what we're doing and making what our mission says, impactful augmented reality, because that's where the value is. If you have a profound experience using our tools. And in that sense, we are just a facility, maybe, if you want to put it down. But that's what we are. And we know that we don't have the content. I mean, that's why we are an open platform. But we are able to find out, or make something that works for everybody, to create it, to experience it, make that available across the board. And that's how we make a difference. And by enabling everybody, and in that way connecting, people around subjects, causes. I think that's where we make a difference, and what will make us last in a good way, I hope.
So how do you, how do you guys turn this into a business, or how have you turned it into a business? How do you make money out of doing augmented reality? Does that matter right now, or is it just the cost?
It definitely matters.
Yeah.
We had lots of ideas, and I'll tell you from the beginning. So first off, the first 5 layers were made by us, and our idea was like, you know what? Great business. Like at the door, we'll say, you want to join? We'll make it for you, and it'll cost you $30K, whatever.
Yep.
And we'll do it. And we sold, I don't know, the first couple. But then, it broke free, literally, and the media picked it up, and we're like, wow, what is this? And we literally knew, like, you know what? We don't know what's relevant in Argentine, or in Japan, or wherever. So then we thought about, what if we, sell licenses, and like in Buenos Aires, you could buy a license as a developer for that country, and that way it would kind of scale, and we would make money right away.
Yeah.
Then we were thinking about that and managing all that, and we're like, that won't scale either. That will also prohibit people from doing things that they want to do. How about universities? How about individuals? So in the end, we decided to, it's about finding the value which we don't know yet. We just found this empty space, which is so barren, but people are so eager to run towards it, like the Oklahoma land grab, or what's it called?
Yeah.
So let's do that. And that's what we're still doing. And that's what our VCs also believe, is that right now it's about creating the opportunity for the content, the opportunity for the people to experience it. And there we will see what will emerge, because we got the biggest AR sandbox in the world.
No kidding.
So we see, or we will see, if, for instance, the first Farmville in AR will emerge. And guess what? If you want to buy a digital chicken then, and the company that made that is looking for ways to sell digital chickens, we already have a payment system in place. You can buy layers already, so it's very easy to add that to digital goods, or add digital goods to that. Mm-hmm. And that's supposedly a pretty good business to be in. So we can do that if we want to, and if we see, it pick up in that way. Another thing we could do is say the brands really embrace what we're doing, and then the McDonald's of the world, and the Coca-Colas, and the Pepsis, like say Pepsi, creates in Canada for 100,000 Canadian dollars, that's hopefully a lot. They create this amazing experience in augmented reality, but they have to make sure that money will be watched, that experience will be seen or enjoyed. So they talk to us, and can you put us up in the app? When you open it up, enjoy, or I don't know what is Pepsi, I don't know what they're there, but that you can see that experience. So we can help them with that, pay for prominence. Yep. That's another simple model, You know, not just stupid advertising, but pay for prominence. So it's part of the core experience of the app. So we could do that too. And that's what we're looking into, to see where it pops up and where we will make money. But for now, we don't yet.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because you know, even as you're talking, there's probably 1,000 different ways that you can turn this into revenue when you've got enough users and enough layers that have been built around it. And we've seen some examples in North America of you know, fashion brands like H&M or something like that, leveraging augmented reality to you know, try on clothes. I know that eBay has an equivalent application to try on clothes, those kind of things. So you start to see them playing with it, which is really, you know, must be great, because this is a clear indication that there's a way to turn this into revenue. And even as something as simple as you said, partnering, there's a Boston-based company called Scavenger, which is a location-based scavenger hunt, and literally, you know, leveraging Scavenger with augmented reality. You can partner those ways, and I think that there's, you know, there's probably 1,000 ways, and one of the biggest challenges must be that, listen, we've got to focus on the product, and the revenue model will come because of the user base, but we can't do all things right now. We can't do 1,000 you know, different revenue models. You have to find one that's actually going to hit. Is that what you're struggling with now, or is that what you're focusing on?
Definitely. We're really analyzing and getting good statistics and developing those, trying to get the insight, the learnings from the platform, from the users. What do they really want? Just thinking about it. What are other people doing too? I mean, is that the way? And so we are getting those, and I wouldn't call it a struggle, but it is our business to find the business.
It's your business,
and that's what a startup is. I mean, Steve Blank recently said, you know, a startup is it's a temporary organization looking for product market fit, and that's what we are too. I mean, we're just temporarily, and until we find product market fit. And it could be that the people that are here, you know, the half will end up staying, and we'll be making license plates. But hey, it's a product market fit. But in theory, that's what a startup is, and I really like that, because it makes you more agile.
It does, and you know, I think it quantifies it very well, because I talk to a lot of startups, and revenue is in their mind, but it's not in the forefront of their mind right now. Because if they satisfy a need, the revenue will come, and they've just got to make sure that need is big enough, right?
Exactly, that's what it is.
What about your VCs? How early on in this process did you go out and raise money?
It was a big step. I mean, right off we were out of it from the beginning. Yeah. So we weren't really sure in the beginning that we wanted to get, you know, money from the outside, because we didn't have any experience with it. Yeah. So it was scary, literally, and you know, do you lose control? What happens? But it came down to the question, and it was, you know, talking to some friends who were in the business or had experience with it, and you know, what do you want to be? Do you want to be humongous? Do you have that? You know, you really want to go for it because you have such a great opportunity, or do you want to slowly make your way and you know, like literally hunt your chicken and then move another day? Yeah. You know, if you
plant some grass, wait till next spring. Yeah.
Exactly, and no, we didn't want to wait to know. Now, we really decided together, you know, let's make this an all or nothing game. Yep. You know, we really believe this. We got this great opportunity, and people, of course, without us opening up, already were sending requests, and so we had lots of people calling, especially, of course, from the Valley too. And then we met Jimmy. And of course, here on video, I forget his last name, and his first name is Jimmy, from Sunstone Capital in Denmark. Mm-hmm. And not only he got it, he got what we were doing. That's great. He got the medium part, and this is, I think, September 2009 that we talked to him, and he really understood what we're doing. That we're not in it for the money right away, but we're creating this opportunity for other people, and together we will find the value. And yeah, he really, and that worked for us, and was for us a great way to get into the world of VCs. And from then on, it moved on to another one here in Holland. We found Prime Ventures, and after that, Intel last year, and it worked out great for us. I mean, we now have a good board structure, we have a good rhythm, we understand how it works, play the game, if you will. And I'm right now I'm a big fan of blogs like AVC, Fred Wilson in New York, and Horowitz also from Andreessen Horowitz has a great post at TechCrunch and others. And so we really are into that, and I like it. It was a new aspect that we didn't see yet in the beginning, but that right now is a big part of what we do. Of course, is the VC part, and yeah, we're enjoying that.
It also gives you that liberty to go and find the business model.
Exactly.
Yeah, be patient with the business model.
We have almost 60 people now. We couldn't have had that so quickly.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, and there are trade-offs, obviously, but this is a go big play, right? Which is you're building a platform, so you don't do that as a meandering company, because you'll live 2 years and wait till somebody to pass you very quickly, and you won't see it coming, and you won't see them leaving you in the dust either.
Yeah, exactly.
Last question about this is that what about why the Netherlands? Like, I know that you're from the Netherlands. We share I'm half Dutch, but this clearly might be this clearly could be a huge opportunity. Obviously, augmented reality is a great conversation. Mm-hmm. You've got detractors and you've got people who are embracing it, and I think that's a great sign that this industry is coming to going to become not mature, but start to mature. Mm. But you're in the Netherlands, you're in Amsterdam. A lot of activities happening in New York, Austin, even Chicago now, certainly Silicon Valley, especially in this space, in the mobile space. A lot of the people that are going to embrace, or the companies big brands that are going to embrace your technology, might be in the U.S., but it might be in London, right? So has it been an advantage, disadvantage? Does it matter that you're in Amsterdam? And have you ever thought about moving or opening up offices in Ottawa, Canada, for example, or in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we have people in Silicon Valley right now, and but opening an office, we don't have like a premises there with a printer, those kind of basics. We just have people there, and
that's what makes an office, the printer. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Those kind of basics, and we thought about it, but there also the pool wasn't as big.
Yeah.
And I think it will come with the business model. If it starts to become pay for prominence, we need to have a sales force almost. Yeah. So then we'll have that. Or digital goods, we'll have a studio helping out making the digital goods. We thought about it, literally, because I'm the American of the three, and my wife like, hey, sure, we can move back, and I even will get, because I'm married to an American for a long time, so even the green card issue is not a thing.
Right.
And I wouldn't mind, actually. I love the Bay Area. But we are Dutch, and this is where we live. This is where I have my house and my garden, which I love. And everybody, here. And because mobile is global, I don't pay taxes for the fact that you can download me or Layar in Antarctica if they would have taxes. You can do that. One push of the button, accept the terms and conditions of Apple, Android, or Google, whatever, and it's there. So just to illustrate that, recently I came back from the U.S. I had with me 6 new phones because we bought some the U.S. phones. We need to test on them, and I didn't think about that. The fact that I have to when you enter a country, this old idea of a border, you have to declare goods, so physical things, and then actually you have to pay taxes on it.
Yes, you do.
I never thought about that. Because I find that ridiculous. I have this global company that does all this value, for other people, and we don't pay any taxes for it.
Yep.
And that's, this, probably more of a value than those 6 devices. And Absolutely. I even got a fine for it that I didn't do that. And, it's very logical if you think of, if you do it a lot. And I said, you know what? 4 of these devices are going to the Ukraine where we have other offices, who's going to use this to test stuff. Am I going to get my money back when I go out of the country? Or they go out of
yeah, that's right.
So, you know what? For us, the world is already one small place. Yeah. And that's how we treat it. And we live here. We love living here. And if we need to go somewhere, I love to, flying anywhere. And I preferably also like to stay a day longer to get to know a country. I went to China the other, a couple months back. Loved it. And yeah, that's what we do. And for us, again, yeah, I think the world is small. So yeah, and eventually we'll open offices when the need is there.
Yeah. Well, consider Ottawa. It's a great, you know, maybe you can't ride your bike year round, but it's it's the nation's capital. Um,
Yeah.
if you
I'd love to cycle there. It's a good nature.
It is, and we have a shared history during the Second World War, and we have a tulip festival every year in Holland's honor, but and I'll send you some pictures because it's a beautiful city,
Yeah, cool.
very influenced, European influenced. The last question I'm going to ask you is if you could debunk one of the biggest misunderstandings of what augmented reality is. If you could say, listen, like you could stand in a stadium or on a podium in front of all these people are saying, augmented reality is this, and it's absolutely not that. If you could debunk one myth about augmented reality, what would that be?
Myth.
Yeah, or anything that you see in the media, you hear, you read, and you're like, that guy just doesn't get it. And if he's, we've got to
I don't
clarify.
see that much.
No,
No, but I have this filter. I never see any negativity.
that's good. That's very good.
But what I would share is the fact that if you want, if you're here in the stadium and we're going to watch this football game,
Yep.
if you want to do something else, you can. You can play Pong in the middle of this, the field together with other people. Right now, a Frogger type game is developed by an artist so that you can play during a soccer match.
That's great.
And I think that is the message: is that what you can change the world, a bit more than that you're used to right now, and that's what AR can make you do and can help you do.
That's incredible, and that's the beauty of it. The simplicity and the complexity all there is that you don't like what you're seeing, change it, and you can do that with augmented reality.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Maarten, I really appreciate you doing this. Technical issues and bandwidth constraints and aside, very insightful. Big fan of Layar since the first time I downloaded it. It must have been. I can't even remember when it was, and I've been using it religiously ever since.
December 2009, if you had the first
first iteration of it, absolutely. Before they pulled it from iTunes, and I felt like a rock star because people would say, "Well, what's this Layar thing?" I say, "Well, it's right here. You can't get it though."
There you go. Yeah.
I really appreciate
Cool.
you coming on and doing this. It's been insightful, and I really I thank you for your time.
No, you're welcome. I enjoyed it too. I hope I gave you some good content and people will like it.
Absolutely. Well, I've been speaking with Maarten, obviously CEO, co-founder of Layar. And for you guys who are still watching this or listening to this, I really do appreciate you making it this far. Obviously, this is a topic that resonates with all of you. Thank you so much for listening. Maarten, thank you so much for being a part of this. And that's another episode of Untether.tv. Thanks for watching, everybody.